Hello everybody, welcome to pickups for May 2017. This is, as I said in the last video, this is always my best month. And there's no exception this month. There's going to be a lot of cuts in this because, well, one, there are some things that don't fit on the camera when it's mounted like this, so I'm going to have to take it in my hands and move it. And secondly, there's a lot of stuff. And filming only lasts so long when you're filming in relatively high quality, so I'm just going to get into it now. The first thing I'm going to show, there was a Facebook group that I go on all the time that has free stuff, basically, and this time it was stuffed animals. Now, we always get free stuffed animals because the dogs love them and they play with them all the time. So, I went through the bag and there were these Pokemon ones which are official. So, I went ahead and took these so the dogs wouldn't grab them. You'll see easier on one like this. The first one was Squirtle, this one is Cyndaquil. Where's his tag? There it is. I believe this one just straight up says the Pokemon Company on it, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. Yeah, Pokemon Center. You can see it right there, which is nice. It also says Game Freak on it, which is cool. Pokemon Center International. There's a bunch of these little guys, and there's also one right here who is a Studio Ghibli one. This is a little Totoro. It says Studio Ghibli right here, designed by Studio Ghibli. I don't know, or Ghibli, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if that means that it's licensed by them or if it's legit or what, but I think he's cool. I'm going to put him with my movies, and he'll look good over there. Then there's also a little Charmander. He's neato. He's the same one as Squirtle. And there is this little Psyduck here who doesn't have a tag for whatever reason. I think it was somewhere but got cut off. Not entirely sure. I'm not the one that cut it off, obviously, so. Little Psyduck, he's neat. And finally, this big old Jolteon, which is probably the newest one of them all. This one is, as you can see right there, 2016 from Pokemon. It wouldn't say that if it wasn't real, so I am almost 100% certain. Yeah, it's Tomy, so Tomy makes toys for them. So, I think it's very nice. The little neck frill things don't like to stay on very well, but it's very high quality. It looks very good. It stands on his own. Very cool. Alright, then I'll get into this right here. I got one of the cleanest Dreamcast controllers I've ever seen in my life. The triggers are completely responsive. Sorry if that was a little loud. The stick is perfect. Dreamcast controller is one of my favorites of all time. It also came with a memory card, which is nice. These things, for whatever reason, I always lose, so it's nice to have a couple of them. And this color, I don't remember what it's called. I know in Japan it's lime green, but I don't know what it's called here. So, but to go along with it, I got a short video with it because it wouldn't fit on screen, so I figured I may as well slap a little video up of it. So I got this gorgeous Dreamcast. It's pure white, no yellowing whatsoever. It looks great. Works. The open button's fine. Still has that slowdown with it, which I like. It only came with the audio-video cables, but I went to a thrift store and found a power supply. These things are super common. You can find power supplies. They're the same for the PlayStation 1, so you can find them almost anywhere. Dreamcast is one of my favorite systems of all time. I always thought the front of it looked like a Jeep. I don't know why, but the front looks like a Jeep to me. This is what the bottom of it looks like. There's no expansion ports on the bottom like there would be for other systems, but you don't really need them. The Dreamcast games are incredibly expensive on the whole, but they're super fun. Some of the best fighting games are on the Dreamcast. In my opinion, the closest fighting game to an arcade game is on the Dreamcast. So, I got that one, and I'm pretty happy about it. Next up, we got a Laserdisc. I don't know when to throw this in, so I'm just going to throw it in now. It is Mars Attacks on Laserdisc. This is one of my favorite movies. It's a very funny movie. Has a lot of high-quality actors and actresses in it. If you don't know what a Laserdisc is, it's basically format of a record, kind of, but it's for MP4s, not well, it's not for sound, it's for video, but it does have sound, of course. This is what it looks like. I think they are gorgeous, and I love the quality of them. So, Laserdisc is neato. Found it at the flea market as well, looking through records. I don't do records, but I do like Laserdiscs, so I'll look through records just to see if there are any Laserdiscs in there. A lot of times there is. So, Laserdisc, Mars Attacks, great movie. Jack Nicholson, Pierce Brosnan, Danny DeVito, and there's, what's her name in here too? Her. I don't remember her name, but you know who that is. Alright, next up I'll go into the one-off games that I got, and then I'll get into the big I got plenty of games of these systems, you know. First up is Ape Escape on the PSP. This one is On the Loose. Ape Escape games I think are fun, and I don't have too many PSP games, so Ape Escape on the PSP is an easy pickup. Next up is Sonic the Hedgehog on the Game Gear. The person who sold me the Dreamcast just gave me this. I guess they were a Sega person, so I didn't have this one, surprisingly. I had the second one, but I didn't have the first one, which is weird. Next up, I'll do Game Boy. I got Game & Watch Gallery 3 in this nice little clamshell. I love the Game & Watch games. I think they're severely underrated. And they're basically mini-game compilations. So if you're into that, go for it. These next two are both factory sealed. One is really good, and then the other one is okay. The first one is Tiger Woods PGA Tour Golf. I'm not big on golf, but it's a factory sealed Game Boy Advance game from Toys R Us, apparently. So, I'm not going to say no to it for a couple bucks. And then the one that I'm really excited about is an original game on the Game Boy. It's Tetris 2, factory sealed with the H seal, as you can see here. So you know it's legitimately factory sealed. Factory sealed all the way from 1993. That's a long time to be factory sealed. This game, factory sealed, since it's so old, is pretty expensive. So that's kind of neat. I love the Tetris games, of course, and as you know, the Game Boy is one of my favorite systems of all time. Maybe not my favorite, but definitely one of my favorite. Oh, I got a couple other guys up here as well. I don't do Skylanders, but I found this guy. It looks like Spyro to me. I think it's Spyro. And I have 1,000,001 Spyro games. I think I have like over 10. So I'll just slap this guy right next to all my Spyro games, and he can protect them. And after that, I got a couple decks of cards. This one, of course, is Dragon Ball Z, as you can see. But they're very neat. They all have the same back for these cards. Same with this one. They all have the same back. But the fronts are all different scenes. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up as I just zoom past them. If you see one you like, feel free to pause and take a deeper look. I'll be sure to get every single one of them in here so you can see them all. I think these are really cool. And one of the cards, I think about halfway through here, has the date of when they were released. Oh, is it this one? Yes, 1993. From Cardass Station, I guess is what this is from. Which is neat, you know. I think the art on these are incredible. I don't plan on using these, but they're really cool display pieces. I'll put them next to my Budokai 3, my Budokai Tenkaichi 3, because I love that game, and these next to it will be neato, I think. And then coming up on the end on these guys, and then I'll show you the other deck of cards I got, which is just as cool, but I don't actually, this one's my favorite one. I don't actually have anything related to it, nor have I ever seen the show or read the books, if there are any. I don't know. This one is a little bit before me, I think. I'm pretty sure this show came out in the 80s. I'm not entirely sure. From what I know, this is Oh My Goddess, or whatever that is. These are what the backs look like, which is neat. They all look the same, of course, just like the Dragon Ball Z ones. But I see it on the bottom of all these cards. You'll see what I mean as I flip through them. Sorry for the background noise. There it is. Ah, My Goddess. There you go. I guess that's what it's called. I have no clue what this is, but these cards are really good looking. The art on these cards are very nice. You can tell it's a relatively well-known studio just based on how quality this art is. And it has to be older. I don't know how old, but I would assume like late 80s, early 90s, maybe even mid 90s, just because the art looks to be that style. I could be wrong. I don't know. That's just my guess. But I think it is very nice regardless. And all the art on these cards are gorgeous, both of them. They were super cheap, so I figured why not. I don't collect playing cards, but I do like these. I like both of them. I don't know who any of these characters are, so this one means less to me than the Dragon Ball Z one, because I could tell you every single character on those cards, because I watched the heck out of that when I was younger. But this I've heard of the name, but I've never seen it or read it or anything like that, so no clue. And value on something like this is not something I go for, so I don't know what they're worth. It doesn't really matter to me. Next up, I'll do some Nintendo games. There was a lady who had some GameCube games, and she wanted a quarter a piece for them. So I told her, whoops, sorry about that. I told her that I would get all of them, and I would pick up some DVDs as well, just so I didn't have change on me. So it was $2, and I got some DVDs that I'll show later on because I like to lump everything together that's the same. First up, we got Rainbow Six Lockdown. All of these are complete in the box and in very good condition. Next up, we got Time Splitters 2. Apparently they tried to peel the sticker off, which, you know, it's not that bad, but whatever. There's no super expensive game here, but I think this is the most expensive one here, and this is like $20, so don't get your hopes up for anything super expensive. Then there's Ghost Recon. I don't really like the Ghost Recon games, mainly because I'm not big on shooters, but, you know, whatever. I'll still keep it, throw it on the shelf, see what it's like, I guess. Metroid Prime. This is like the 4th copy I found of Metroid Prime, but I love the disc on it. It looks neat. It's supposed to look like Samus when she's in a ball, but I just think it looks like a basketball. Whoops. And it reminds me of the Mario Tennis one. If you ever saw that disc, or the Super Sluggers one on the Wii. Then there's Soul Calibur 2. I'm really excited about this one because I never had this game when I was growing up, and it's a Soul Calibur game that has Link as a playable character, which is really neat. If I remember right, he's not very good, but, you know, that's fine with me. Then we got Worms 3D, which is cool. I love the Worms games. I think they are phenomenal. I didn't know that they made 2 on the GameCube. I only thought they made 1, so I had never actually played Worms 3D before. I only played the other Worms game. Then we got one more that was not a part of that. It was instead a part of a thrift store find. Whoa. And that is Crash Nitro Kart. Found this at a thrift store for 20 cents. I didn't actually check the condition. It's a little scratched up. It's very scratched up, but it's not as, there's no super deep scratches, so it should play. And there's no circular scratches, which are the big ones, and there's no cracks in it or anything, so should be fine. I think it'll play a-okay. Next up, we got some Wii games. These I got all from the same sale. Somebody has the same taste as me in Wii games. I like to play these on my Wii U, but Harvest Moon games, he had 3 of them. I didn't know they made this many on the Wii, to be honest with you, but I love them. They are farming and they're basically doing chores in a video game, which sounds really boring and monotonous, but it's actually really fun. These are simulators where it's kind of like it's literally the original Stardew Valley, if you've ever played that. That's a popular game right now that I can compare it to. It's very entertaining, I feel. I love these games with a passion. They're some of my favorites, and they are all complete. All the discs are gorgeous on them, if I remember correctly as well. Yeah, basically unplayed. Basically brand spanking new. Aside from a little bit of scratching down on the bottom. I don't know if you could see that or not. So there's that. Now I'll go into PS1 and PS2 games. So first up we got Spider-Man 2, Enter Electro. The best Spider-Man game in my opinion. Even better than Spider-Man 2 on the original Xbox. The only game that's better than Spider-Man 2 on the original Xbox in the Spider-Man series in my opinion. Next up we got 1 Extreme. Don't know what this is. I would assume it's like a BMX game of some sort. Inline skates, okay. Skateboard, mountain bike, okay. So it's just like extreme racing, I guess, with your own stuff, I suppose. Then we got Tomb Raider. The original Tomb Raider, one of my favorites. Doesn't have the back cover, I guess. I didn't realize that. But original Tomb Raider, ton of fun. One of the original platformers, start of a series, very good. Changed it a lot over time, but what can you do? This one I changed the case out on. You can see how messed up the manual is, but I changed the case so it's not as beat up. It is Nuclear Strike. I love the disc on this. I think it looks very nice. So Nuclear Strike, relatively good game on the PS1, I feel. Now we'll move on to some PS2 games. I had to cut there because it ran a little long. I got Tourist Trophy. Never heard of it. The Real Riding Simulator. Don't know what it is. I would assume it's a, just looking at it, it's like a motorbike racing game. So, neato, I guess. Next up we got Cabela's Deer Hunt 2005 season. Now I got all of these games at a thrift store as a bundle. I got 30 of them, and they were 20 cents each because I got so many of them. Cabela's games are pretty much all the same. It's just like shoot a deer. There you go. Not big on them. SpongeBob Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. There's only one SpongeBob game that I've ever played that's any good, and it ain't this one. So, it ain't this one either. It is not SpongeBob the movie. Don't actually plan on playing either of these, but, you know, a little something to pad the price never hurts. Next up we got Battlefield 2. This game's a lot of fun. Obviously the online is not around anymore, but first-person shooter, even though, or third-person, first-person, a bit of both, even though I'm not big on shooting games, that one's still kind of fun. Next up we got Summoner, which is one of those games that always looks like an expensive game, but is actually a very cheap game, mainly because it's not very good. But, you know, it's subjective, I guess. I don't personally think it's that great. They also made a ton of them, so that's probably another reason why. Then we got Namco Museum, the 50th anniversary. I love these compilation discs. This one has Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Galaxian, Dig Dug, Rally X, Pole Position 1 and 2, Xevious, Dragon Spirit, Bosconian, Rolling Thunder, Mappy, and Spy Kid. If I had to pick a favorite one on here, it would probably be either Galaga or Galaxian. These two are very similar. They're horizontal shooters where you can only move back and forth. They're arcade games. Pole Position's a lot of fun too. I never played the arcade version, but I did play it on the Atari 2600. So, next up we got Jak 2. I love the Jak games. Precursor Legacy is my favorite Jak game, but this one is a lot of fun as well. Jak and Daxter are, in my opinion, better than Ratchet and Clank, which is going to upset a lot of people, but that's how I feel personally. Then we got Simpsons Hit and Run. Very good game. It is similar to... I believe this one is similar to Crazy Taxi, and then there's another Simpsons game that's similar to Grand Theft Auto. So, a lot of fun there. Then we got Rampage Total Destruction. All Rampage games are exactly the same, so this is basically better graphics port of the arcade game. Then we got Call of Duty 2, Big Red One. Not big on shooters again, so Call of Duty games fall into the category of I don't really like them. Drive to Survive, never heard of it, but it kind of looked like Twisted Metal, so I'm about it, if that's what it's like. Haven't played it yet, but plan on it. Then we got Destroy All Humans. This is my third copy of this game. I don't know why, but this game is so much fun. If you haven't played this game, I highly, highly recommend it. It is fantastic. Then we got Destroy All Humans 2. In my opinion, worse than the first one, unfortunately, but still very fun. They introduced co-op in this one, which is nice, but I'd recommend playing the first one first, which sounds obvious, but you know. Then we got Cabela's Dangerous Hunts. Again, Cabela's game, pretty much the same. It's just shoot stuff and, you know, again, not my type of game. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which is not actually in here. The manual is here, but the game is 007 Agent Under Fire. This is the only one that's like this. Oh, speaking of this, I forgot about something. I would have rather had Marvel Ultimate Alliance, to be honest with you, but not bad. It could be worse. In the Simpsons Hit and Run game, there was a memory card for PS2. That's all I needed to show there. Next up, there is Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. I'm not big on Lego Star Wars games, to be honest, but, you know, it's a Lego Star Wars game, so whatever. And then we got Fisherman's Bass Club with one of the worst covers I've ever seen in my life. Why would you make that the cover to your game? Oh, this one is compatible with the stupid fishing rod controller, which for whatever reason I find all the time. People loved it. Doesn't make any sense to me. Next up, I'll move on to Xbox. Alright, so the first thing I want to show that's a little odd is this bad boy right here. It is the Halo 3 Master Chief helmet. I found this at a thrift store, and I couldn't say no to it. Look at it, it's sweet. It was $3, which I thought was insane. It's also numbered on the back of it there. Doubt that is significant in any way, but just in case if you were wondering what the number was, there it is. I believe this came from the collector's edition of Halo 3, but you can really tell that the dust sleeve was kept on this thing. It's super clean. It looks really nice. I like it a lot. I did get a couple of games that... Well, I got one game that I don't have right now. I'm going to put a picture up of it, probably over here somewhere. And it's going to be Evolve, which I let my friend play it because he has an Xbox One. I don't have one. And I heard it's really bad. So, you know, hopefully he likes it. I heard the controls are really bad, and it's just awful. I also got Destiny on the Xbox One. I got both of these games for a couple bucks, so I figured I may as well pick them up. Destiny, I don't really like first-person shooters, so I'm probably not going to play it. I also don't have an Xbox One, so don't see myself playing it. Then I got a 360 game, kind of. It is one of the Xbox Magazine demo discs. This one is for one of my favorite games on the 360. It's for Blue Dragon. It's a Square game. I think they were Square Enix by this time, actually. Square Enix game, and it is a ton of fun. This one has a bunch of good stuff on it. It's got Overlord, Juice 2, Project Syphilide, Missile Command, and Carcassonne as the demos, as well as Blue Dragon. And the videos are of Call of Duty 4 and Bioshock. Bioshock video on this is another reason why I got it. It's got Beowulf and End War art as well, which is kind of neat. Oh, and Juice 2 is another video. It's got you unlock these Xbox magazine points by just playing the demos, so that's kind of neat. I love these demo discs, and I got this one specifically just because it was Blue Dragon, which is such a good game. If you haven't played it, it's an RPG on the 360, and it's a ton of fun. I don't know if it's exclusive or not, actually. I don't think it is. Next up is Burnout 2 on the Xbox. Unfortunately, it is just the disc, but Burnout games are phenomenal. If you don't play racing games, I think you'd still enjoy Burnout games. This is the case that that Nuclear Strike game came in. It is demolished, as I'm sure you can see. Absolutely demolished. But this game is actually in good condition. The scratches are from the case, they're not from the disc. But it's Dead or Alive 3. Dead or Alive games I think are a ton of fun. They're fighting games, but you know they're a little they're a little out there with the characters. For some more original Xbox games, I got 2 in the lot that I think were really good, and then the rest are kind of mediocre. First off is Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball. Now all these Xbox games were at the same place I got the PS2 games and some of the PlayStation 1 games, as well as Crash Nitro Kart. But Greg Hastings Paintball, never played it, don't plan on playing it. It's a paintball game. It's basically a shooter. I'm not really into those, so there you go. Then we got Maxed, which I guess is the sequel. I don't know, the cover on it's pretty nice, so I'll give it that. Way better than the first one. Then we got a pretty beat-up copy of Midway Arcades 2. It looks like it got wet or something, which nobody likes. But these ones, I like these compilation discs again. This one has Mortal Kombat 2, 3, Gauntlet 2, Spy Hunter 2, Zybots, Narc, APB, Whack, Hard Drivin', Champion Sprint, Cosmic Cruiser, Rampage World Tour, Arc Rivals, Primal Rage, Xenophobe, War of... oh gosh. Wizard of War. Jeez. I don't know what happened there. And then we got Pit Fighter, Total Carnage, Timber, and Cyberball 2072. You can see on the back it's really beat up here. Really looks like it got wet. But Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 and Gauntlet 2 are definitely the picks on this for me. Next up we got Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. The first one is way better in my opinion, but the second one is not bad. It could be worse. So, there's that. Then we got Fight Club, but this is sealed still. Doesn't really make too much of a difference on the value. Fight Club, the movie, is very good. I'm not going to say it's my favorite movie, but, you know, it's a solid movie, I guess. A lot of people love it. A lot of people say it's their favorite movie, so can't hate on that. Next up, we got Simpsons Hit and Run Again. I now have it on every single console it was released on, so that's funny. I like that. The game is very good, like I said. Then we got Doom 3. I also have this in PC. I have it in the big box. I got that a while ago. This game's a ton of fun as well, but it's first-person shooter again. You know what Doom is. Then we got the 2 Tony Hawk Underground games on the original Xbox, the first one and the second one. Tony Hawk games are actually a ton of fun. If they're the older ones. Haven't played any of the newer ones, so I don't know. But American Wasteland was the last one I played. Underground series is good, and Pro Skater, I played up until the 3rd one, and they were all excellent. Next up we got Dinotopia, the Sunstone Odyssey. The cover on it looks really cool. I'm not gonna lie there. So, I played I have the Dinotopia game on, Game Boy Advance, so if it's anything like that, it's pretty bad. Then we got MotoGP 3. I guess it's another motorcycle racing sort of game. Then the case is of James Cameron's Dark Angel, but I got this because the game is The Warriors, which is an excellent game, and I like it a lot. It's a lot of fun. Very fun game. Based on the movie. One of my favorite movies as well. Then Def Jam Fight for New York. This is one of the gems of the lot. It's a fighting game where you can play as rappers, which is kind of funny. You can see the full cast here. You also can play as some other celebrities like Carmen Electra, but a very wide selection of rappers. Snoop Dogg is obviously the funniest one of them all, but DJ Felly Fell and Ice-T, even Joe Budden. This game's ridiculous. That's why I love it. I think Danny Trejo is also in this somewhere. Let's take a look, see. Yeah, Danny Trejo, right there. This game's ridiculous, and if you haven't played it, it's a ton of fun. Then we got Godzilla Save the Earth. This game is so much fun. The characters in it are very unique. My personal favorite is your boy Jet Jaguar, just because his transforming abilities are neato. But all the characters are very well made, and if you haven't played it, I recommend getting it on a console other than Xbox, because Xbox is like a $30 game. So get it on like PlayStation 2 where it's like $15 or something like that. Next up, I got a couple old McDonald's toys. These are Mario Power Tennis. They're hammers. On the side they have Mario. Whoa, did not mean to do that. Sorry, I've been doing that a lot. Mario Power Tennis. They're from 2006. Yeah, it's over here. They are 2006. I don't know if this is the GameCube or if it's supposed to be the Game Boy Advance. I blew one of them up just so you can see what they look like. But, old McDonald's toys, Mario, why not, right? Then I also got a PlayStation 2 controller, just because. It's a PlayStation 2 controller, you can never have too many of them. And I'll move on to DVDs and Blu-rays. I got a couple DVDs with those GameCube games. I got these two. Shaun of the Dead, because I think Simon Pegg is hilarious, and 28 Days Later, because it's a genuinely good movie. I'm not gonna say I'm huge on zombie movies, but you know, whatever. Those are neat. Then Pan's Labyrinth, one of my favorite, more recent horror movies. It is very good, highly recommended. It's a Guillermo del Toro movie. He makes fantastic movies. Then Yu-Gi-Oh! The Past is the Present. I got this because, one, look at that cover art, that's gorgeous. Two, it's Funimation. And three, it has the one where Yugi finds out he's the Pharaoh, spoilers, and it has the one where Joey gets his red eyes stolen and then Yugi gets it back. So, very good episodes in my opinion. Only reason why I got that. First Blu-ray I got is Red Sonja, Queen of Plagues. The comic of this is very good. I say comic because I think this is like Marvel or something. DC maybe? I don't remember who this is. But it's a comic book and it's excellent. But the movie adaptation I've heard is horrible. So, I look forward to watching it to see just how horrible it is. Next up, I got... This is it for the Blu-rays. I don't actually... Well, I know what it is now that I've seen it, but this is Lupin the Third, which is an excellent series. Came out in the late 60s. This one is The Woman Called Fujiko Mine, which is an odd name. I don't know whose first name would be Mine, but whatever. It is a box set with the entire season on Blu-ray, which is kind of neat. I never find anything like this, so I figured why not pick it up just to see what it's all about. So I did. Last little splice here for things that don't fit. I got some books. I got 1 through 8 of Outlanders, which is all of them. This is the first one here is from the 80s. You can tell by the miscoloring. I'll give you an example from the second one. But this one's from the original release. I don't know if there was a like a different time release on these or what, but this one's from the 80s and then the rest of them are from the 90s. Like I said, 1 through 8, which is all of them. Where's the numbers? There's the numbers. They're pretty good, I think. I had never read them before. Right now I'm on book 7, so that's kind of neat. And then the second one is called Ranma 1/2. I had never heard of it, but I looked into it. I only got 11 and 13 because those were the only two that the guy at the flea market had. All of these came from the same guy at the flea market. They were a total of like $8 or something like that, so why would I not, right? But this one, I'm pretty sure it's about a guy who turns into a girl and then their dad turns into a panda bear. It's weird. It's really weird. I'm not reading it yet because, well, I only have 11 and 13. I'm not going to start at 11, you know? But that's the last thing that won't fit on the camera. So, there's that. And then last, finally, we're coming to an end. We have VHSs. I'll show this one first because it's the most relevant to what else I do. I saw this and I thought it was Banjo-Kazooie in the box, and I got really excited, but it is the Toys R Us VHS. So, it's the, like the trailer for it. Look at how short it is as well. One of the shortest videos I've ever seen on VHS. Look at that. Put you right here. Next up we got Good Burger, which I thought was a very funny movie. But, it's a Nickelodeon movie. I like it a lot. I actually think it's hilarious. And then we got a classic here. George Romero's Day of the Dead. Of course. Very good movie. Highly recommended if you haven't seen it, but I really doubt you haven't seen it, let's be honest. Then we got a movie I have never seen before. Ghost Story. Never opened. The person I got all these VHSs from worked at Blockbuster, so just grabbed them all. They were like 50 cents or a quarter a piece or something like that, so why not, right? Then Aliens, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, obviously. This is one of everyone's favorite movies of all time. As it should be, because this is fantastic. Really good movie. Then we got Resident Evil. The Resident Evil movies, on the whole, are horrible. I don't remember if this one's any good, but for the most part, they are terrible. Especially the new one. Don't watch the new one. It's real bad. Then we got the original Land Before Time. I got this because I name every single, what is that Pokemon called? Chikorita's final evolution. Meganium. I name every single Meganium Littlefoot, because this is Littlefoot. It kind of looks like a Meganium. So, I had to, yeah, Littlefoot, there you go. I name every single one Littlefoot, so I thought I had to do it some justice. Then we got one of my favorite movies of all time again, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I have this on DVD and I watch it all the time with my nephew, which is probably a pretty bad idea because this has a lot of tones in it that probably aren't very good for a 7-year-old, but you know, he loves it, so I love it too. I'm not gonna say no. Then we got two very underrated horror movies, the two Blair Witch Projects. I think the first one is excellent. The second one is okay. This one's also sealed for whatever reason. These are some of the best, like, found footage movies I've ever seen. So if you haven't watched them, very scary. I'd recommend watching them. Coming up on the end, we got 5 more, and then we're finally done. We got The Black Cauldron, which is an excellent Disney movie. I don't know why, but I never see this anywhere. This is like one of those Disney movies that nobody ever talks about, which is a shame, because I like it a lot. I think it's very good. And I'm running out of space to put stuff. And we got one of my favorite movies, again. I know I say that a lot, but I have a lot of favorite movies. It is The Iron Giant. I love this movie. I love looking at scenes of this movie. Dang it, I keep nogging into this, sorry. There are scenes in this movie, and if you look at them frame by frame, some of the artwork is hilarious. That's all I can say. Excellent movie, though. Recommend it if you haven't seen it. This next movie, I don't really like that much, but I got it because, well, I don't have it. So, it's We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. Didn't really like it. I'm pretty sure it's Steven Spielberg. But, you know, I didn't really like it that much. It's okay. I'm not gonna say it's bad, but not really a movie for me, I guess. Which is weird, because usually I like those kind of movies. And finally, these two go together. It is Fantasia 2000 and... Whoop, they got caught on the end here. There we go. Fantasia 2000 and the original Fantasia. Of course, they are excellent movies. They're both the same thing, obviously, just one is slightly different than the other one. Soundtrack in Fantasia is excellent. Highly recommend, at the very least, listening to it. That is all I got this month. I know that was a long video, I apologize, but I want to thank you very much for sitting through all that and watching it. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good month, and I will see you in June.